Into order. We don't do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Southgate's mission statement, learning for life. Our vision statement, Southgate Community Schools, the best choice for students and parents. Brings us to item D, revisions and approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you. We have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Supported by Mr. Craig. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And that brings us to item E, citizens' comments. Right now, we have a couple here.
Robert Pulowski.
Robert Pulowski, if you'll step right up here. This is Robert Pulowski of 12757 Chestnut Street in Southgate. And you have 3 minutes, sir. Are we timing that?
Yeah.
Now, I just want to mention to everybody that this is an actual comment section. So this isn't, it's exactly like it sounds. It's not a Q&A, right? So it's your time to make a comment to the board. If your comment requires a follow-up, be sure our staff is definitely taking notes, and they'll reach out to you if need be. And that's why we have your contact information. Remember, these comments should be directed to the board and will be timed, so please stick to the allotted 3 minutes. Once you reach that time, you'll be allowed to finish your sentence, and then we'll call the next person up. Lastly, please keep your comments respectful, courteous, and clean. These comments are broadcast publicly, and children do tune in. So without further ado, Mr. Pulowski.
Thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Robert Pulowski. I live at 12757 Chestnut Street in Southgate. So a couple weeks ago, I brought the question to you about vaping and what could we do to put an end to it and possibly move fining. Now, I want to shift a little bit towards into illegal activity, because a month ago, there was a bunch of illegal activity going on in the garage parking lot, and it was very, it was horrible, honestly. There was a bunch of illegal drinking, guns involved. It was horrible. And I went to make a police report on that, and on top of that, the camera quality was just awful. And the reason I'm here tonight is to bring the question if we can put more funding into the camera equipment. It's outdated, and if we want to put people accountable for their actions, you know, with the camera quality, we can't get them on camera very much with these outdated lenses to it. And I really would like to see more funding with this camera quality and these cameras, because if we want to have people held accountable for what they've done, we need to have better camera systems, and we need to have better technology within the district. I know with everything else, the bathrooms have been updated, well done, congrats to that, I'm really proud of you all for doing that. It's just the camera quality is the lingering part that we need to fix. And I really don't need this district back to what it was in 2016, where bathrooms were all messed up, doors had graffiti on them, you name it. I'm not going to list them, but it was horrible. And I really would like to see a change, technology in specific. But I want to appreciate the time and the opportunity to speak tonight, and hope you'll have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have Mr. Andrew Mall of 18924 Superior Street in Southgate. Mr. Mall. For the board's purposes, he did provide us a copy of his statement, so we'll make copies and then get that to you as well.
Okay, good evening. First, I'd like to thank the board for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is Andrew Mall, and my comments today will be in support of the universal mask requirement for in-person learning at the start of the 2021-2022 school year. I know that this topic is not on the agenda for tonight's meeting, but I'm hoping that the board will decide to take this action at the earliest available time. As a parent, healthcare worker, and concerned citizen, I cannot understand why this board does not recommend a mask requirement despite the overwhelming recommendations from public health leaders and scientific evidence. A universal mask recommendation in schools is supported by many professional organizations, including the American Medical Association, the American Hospital Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the American Nurses Association, among others. Additionally, masking is a popular opinion among parents, despite loud protests to the contrary. A recent USA Today Ipsos poll found that 69% of Americans support universal masks in schools. In a study published by the CDC in the 2020-2021 school year, found that mask wearing is an effective strategy to prevent COVID transmission, and inconsistent mask use contributed to school-based outbreaks. The science and public sentiment are on the side of mask requirements in schools. The current CDC recommendation includes universal indoor masking by all students, staff, teachers, and visitors to K-12 schools, regardless of vaccination status. The current positivity rate in Wayne County is 7.08%, and the CDC categorizes Wayne County as having a high level of community transmission. Of importance, the National School Boards Association recently released a statement supporting the CDC recommendation. In addition to the CDC, public opinion, and medical professionals, the state of Michigan Department of Health and Human Services recently released a strong recommendation that schools require masking for all students and staff regardless of vaccination status. All of this data, especially in the light of the Delta variant and what is currently happening in some southern school districts where school has already started, show that without masks, we are taking away one of the most effective tools in slowing the spread of disease. Without masks, we will have many students, teachers, staff, and family members contract COVID, and likely we will be faced with the prospect of shutting down in-person learning and sports again. Without masks, 1 or 2 cases of Delta will rip through classrooms and could very well lead to preventable illness or even death of a student or family member. I would assume that this board has made pledges to follow the science and opinions of experts when it comes to keeping our children safe. I'm not sure why, in the face of the overwhelming evidence in these recommendations, we would choose to listen to the vocal minority of parents that somehow believe that wearing a mask infringes on their rights. I believe that this board should follow the lead of other districts in Wayne County, including Wyandotte, Allen Park, Riverview, Dearborn, and Detroit, and hope that they will change course and require masks for all students and staff at the start of the school year.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, is there anybody else who wishes to address the board at this time? All right, thank you very much. Moves us to presentations. This is the Ahs Branding Presentation.
Yes, and I would like to invite the board to take a seat in the first 2 rows so that they can see the screen. Oh, sorry, thank you.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Today, I just wanted to present to you, we have a team from TMP Architecture. They've been working with the district here for the last 2 weeks to look at some branding opportunities to be displayed around the district. So we've been working here for probably the last 4 to 6 weeks, working on some different opportunities. We have a couple packages later on that we'll show you in here for approval today. We're going to start to put together some of those pieces to get some of those moving. So team we have from TMP, we have Bill, Hannah, and then Jason here today to present this to you and go through some of the branding opportunities that we're looking at.
I
Hey everybody, I'm Anna Reed, I'll be the project manager for the bond as well as the signage package that we put together for you today. As Rob mentioned earlier, we're gonna go through 3 different packages, one which is already put out for bids, which you'll review later today as a 3-part segment. The next one which is going off the seat, and then a final one for future at the middle seat. So with that, you can go ahead and start our speaker. So this is overall map, you'll have this later as Rob goes through the award. It breaks down the different types of signage that we're looking at, as well as the placement of that around your site. So the first 3 packages, these are what you'll be looking at later for approval, 1 through 3. So the first is 5 separate post and panel directional signs. This will help everybody navigate better around your site. You'll definitely see how to traverse through. The second is an athletic entrance upgrade, so you'll get some nice pen letters there and a repaint on the Ahs outside the entrance. The third is signage to go over the gymnasium. These are also metal letters that will be pen mounted.
This is actually included with the athletic entrance signage. This one in the previous slide, or one package slide.
Yes. The third will be these banners, 18 in total. They'll be double-sided, hanging on your light posts. These will feature your players as well as pictures of them in action. Help everybody get to know your stars who go through the season. The next is fencing vinyl, so this will help you brand around your chain link fence. And that's in quite a few locations that you'll see on the signage map. And I believe the last one here is your graphic on the back of the softball press box, so that you can advertise your softball. The next is the bid package that will be going out this week. And this includes electrical lighting for your building. So we're proposing to put new lights on the side of the main entrance to highlight your existing signage. And the next are interior illuminated signs that will be put next to your athletic entrance. Large letters that will help you know where you are as you go. And these are the upcoming bid packages that we're looking at doing. So this would be a revamp of the entrance gateway when you walk into the football field. The ticket booth would be repainted as well as branded with a painted sign. You can see the archway in the middle, which would be 2 brick pillars with metal gateway entranceway as well as new gates. And the third would be this logo that you can paint as soon as you walk into your football stadium. The next would be updating the press box. So we're looking at adding lettering above as well as banners on either side. You would also enlarge the standing viewing platform on top of the press box so that you can get better reviewing and feeling about it as well. And this would be the back side of that press box, just additional painted lettering. Next, we have a directional athletic pylon. So this would show you where to go when you're actually on the athletic entrance. I believe you might have seen this before, but it wouldn't be installed until after the pool is done, so that nothing happens during construction. And the last would be this monument sign to replace what you currently have now. It would be made out of acrylic and metal, a very large curved signage to let everybody know where they are.
So I don't know, based on that kind of summarizes some of the items that we got the first three packages with some of the quick signage that we can get out, banners, post signs that can be athletic entrance, directional sign, those all can be stuff that we can package up there when they get out the bid. Some of these other ones we're working through design for foundation, electrical, things like that. So we're working on those and getting the packages out as quick as we can. Get them out. So just a few things that we've been looking at with the bond team in our last few meetings and stuff. So based on that, I don't know if anybody has any questions. You guys seen any of this before or any thoughts?
Good plans for this one here, like nighttime lighting?
Yep. So we'll have it lit up there on the side. I know that kind of started some of the branding. If you remember when we were going through designing some of the renderings of the pool. There was the SCA logo thrown in addition, and that started a conversation of additional branding around there. And we wanted it back there in addition, and through that, we moved it forward, and just kind of continued to grow with the banners and athletic signage and direction. So that kind of snowballed over from that SCA that we started with on pool edition initially.
So the Titans that's on the gymnasium, is that raised lettering or is that just flat?
Yeah, that's raised another, that's on metal, so it should be lifted off.
Okay. And then as far as the windscreen, looking at the future, how long? I mean, I see what happens with tennis windscreen. They last the season and then they're replaced. Is there a warranty on those? Where we at with that?
You know that, Jason?
Yeah, so, I talked with some of the manufacturers for that. I talked to some of the manufacturers for that. They said it at least like 3 years out of them, but they're in sections that it would be easily
We
replaced.
did do warranty for 3 years or they just tell me?
They don't, yeah, I don't think they were, they just, the line will just last, hopefully, like about 3 years.
So,
Depending, obviously, it depends on, the location, but, some direction. If they're gonna work after others.
when the bid comes up as far as the future, that's something, if we've got to budget it in, and whether it's a yearly or, every other year, if we could get a cost on that, figure out what we'd be spending. So that's that. And then lastly is the Southgate, the one that's on the front of the building. And I know you both lighted for it. If you had the lighted STA sign like we have on the gymnasium, what would be the cost of it? Is it that economical? Because wouldn't that give enough light off at night when you could still see the Southgate on the street, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you're talking put that up in addition to?
Well,
that maybe?
I'm saying if these lights were removed and this STA was actually a lighted sign like we have in other locations, to me it just looks better, but I don't know the cost.
Yeah, I mean, we'll know when we bid out that package, so that's something we could look at, is, we know the cost of one lighted sign, and we know the cost of lighting Ben Anderson, so we could look at adding a second one. Yeah, pretty.
We got one time to get this right.
I'd also recommend making sure that there's top and bottom lighting on that side, because otherwise it's just distracting on the side.
You won't see
You're not
it.
going to see the lettering.
But that is something, I mean, we could look at doing as an alternate option with that. Oh, one of the things we had started talking about too, once with the banners, we have images up there of players,
Yeah.
how Titans. Once we get that contractor on board, that's when we can sit down and figure out what exactly is that we want on there. We have some generic images that we put up there. We would sit down and, whether it's actual players or logos or whatever you guys would like up there, that would still get to be determined, so.
And to Sean's point, I'm not a big fan of seeing those light bars in the day. I'm not a big fan of the way that looks in the day. With the light bars going across. So I guess if the cost was similar, to swap that out. Is this replacing the message center?
Yeah.
So the message center is going away. We're getting away from message centers altogether?
No, the idea would be to put a centralized one in the school district office so that you don't have one into the neighborhood. When you are installing one of those marquees in the neighborhood, one, you have lights, bottles. But we also find ourselves not using those types of messaging on social media. A lot less, they're relying on less on marquees. So if we are looking for a marquee presence, better suited, I think, on Trent Road and Leroy, as people are driving by, our major events, like a graduation, or our plays, or something that's not the day-to-day activities, but something really significant in the district. And we can get all of our district activities on that content.
Anything else?
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Sage and Mr. Craig, and it would be interesting to see the operational costs over time for each of the packages. So we knew what the lighting cost would be, who we got to pay, any materials, anything like that, just so we know what that ongoing cost would be. Okay. Always get that right on.
As we start to get those prices in for that, first packages that we have here today aren't anything lighting other than the replacement of banners. This would be the one, and probably pretty similar to what that actual cost is. But we can get more detailed breakdown on the packages, first couple packages.
And then this is all really nice, feel good stuff. I mean, it's beautiful, right? It's cool. So I'm curious, is there any metrics or any data that show you what impact this has on anything? More people like to stop and look, but decide they have to leave Trenton High School and come to Southgate. I'm being ridiculous, but is there any data that says this pays it back, other than the feel good factor?
I don't know. That'd be interesting news to find out. I could try to ask around and see if that.
I doubt there is. I mean, it's almost like a stupid question to ask. I doubt it, but just curious.
I think anything, it's appearance. I mean, something like that.
No
The
question.
school stands out.
No, there's no question. Just with the windscreens, is it gravity and then a zip line or what's?
I'm not exactly sure if it's done there, but I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's,
That's what
I just see it with the tennis club around.
Yeah, flip it on. I'm sure there's like.
I remember comments about the, I've always been pro marquees in each building. I like the fact that you can have a centralized marquee by Davidson for a lot of traffic going in and out, but still there's even a lot of students from different areas, different regional areas that I think that, and I'll still push for every building to have a marquee because those parents, some come from different angles, but each building should have their own information for that building in particular. That one broke or went down, I don't know exactly what happened, but I've been pushing for Davidson to have the marquee there because a lot of parents have been asking about information. That would be more helpful. I know a lot of kids will go into social media, but there's still a lot of parents who have a lot of questions, and I think that would be a good communication builder for parents to know when an event's happening, but I still would like to see those marquees at each building.
Anybody else?
Let's go back up on stage. Thank you so much for your.
Thank you.
It should be easy to remember at least one of our names.
That's a next layer. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, I can see my agenda. All right, this brings us to item G, the superintendent update. Mr. Irvine?
Yes, just a reminder to parents, we have our first home football game happening this Friday night. At that event, we will also have backpacks for students, so we hope that we see all of you there. We're excited about it. We're excited to see the halftime show of our band. They've been working hard with band camp, in band camp, so it's really exciting. A lot of great things ahead. Also, just a reminder to make sure that parents are filling out their mode of instruction decision related to the 21-22 school year by the 27th. And I know there are many questions about how the district will be handling COVID mitigation. And so that is information that will go out on Thursday. So I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that we are talking about that as an administrative team pretty extensively. And we will have something released to parents to base some decisions that they may have regarding mode of instruction.
Thank you. Barb, do we have anything for finance?
No.
Okay. All right, this brings us to item I, our consent agenda, which consists of minutes from the August 10th, 2021 regular board meeting, as well as our HR update.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Paponio. Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And that takes us to our action items for tonight. We have 5. The first one is you'll recognize in the audience, we have actually 3 that are related to the presentation a little bit that you just saw. But the approval of the Anderson bid package 1, the directional signage. Mr. Irvine, will you be presenting?
Yes, so this is the first of the series, and I believe that, Rob, you can explain how this has been isolated. I will, though, say that as we're considering this particular package, our first and foremost value is how we will be able to designate the technology department at the high school. Because right now, there's a lot of interfacing with the high school technology department, and parents have a lot of questions about where that is. So that is one, but I will go ahead and let Mr. Kukowski speak.
Yeah, so the first package we have here is for bid package 1. This is the directional signage that you saw. So we did break them up into multiple packages just based on the types of signs. There are different sign companies who specialize in different types of signs and stuff along the way. So instead of packaging them all up, we tried to put them up by the types of signage they were and then send those out. So for bid package 1 for the directional signage, July 28th, we issued the RFP documents for pricing. We reached out to 4 firms. We received pricing from 3 of the firms. Based on review of the proposal that we received, we talked with the contractors, followed up on the bids. For this bid package 1 directional signage, we are recommending Bolt Corporation for the total amount of $2,510. Flip through the next page, you can see the bid tab for the full prices that we received, three prices from 4 companies that we received prices from, showing you the bids for free. And then we also included the information that was presented here earlier related to this. So the overall site plan does show we have 5 directional signs included. One thing we've kind of been talking about, we didn't change it on here, is maybe some of the locations of where they're shown here being changed, and then the verbiage on those will still have to be determined once we bring the contractor and talk with them. We have a total of 5 right now for, included in this for the high school site. But once the contractor is brought on board, we start looking at shop drawings, the language, and the verbiage that we put on there. The next page kind of shows the drawing of it, the rendering of what a typical sign would look like, again, with the high school up top, and then whether you're going into the main office or the technology department, or give some direction at each of those entrances when you pull in. Included the specifications that were included in the package, and then there's a copy of the proposal from the corporation that you can do the prices of. That is the recommendation here today for the package one retro signage.
Thanks, Rob. Any questions for Rob? Dr. Pomponio?
So I see all the information, the bidders and everything. So, you know, as we purchase a high-priced item, does a warranty come, just along the lines of the other questions earlier, does a warranty come with it, just in case it weathers too soon, or something's dysfunctional, or you know, early?
I don't know that off the top of my head. I will find out. Warranties for each of these. I don't know if they all have a standard 1 year or different types of signage has different ones. So I will try to verify that and follow up with that.
Okay.
Each package might be a little bit different.
All right. Okay, thank you.
I have one thing.
Mr. Sage?
Just, Rob, with the posts that are going in the ground, is that, what are the posts is it covered, or is it painted? Is it wood? Is it painted aluminum?
Yep.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
One.
Yeah, Mr. Craig.
On our sheet, it shows 4. Do you know where the 5th one's going?
There's a no, they didn't put a bid in.
Oh, it's back, but so there's
No, there's
on the
4
drive,
signs.
and there's one back by technology.
Oh, okay.
That it shows up, so it's the B1, so there's 3 right now shown on, Leroy, maybe 1 on the can and 1 back by technology right now.
Oh, I see. Okay. And any idea on installation time, like when we might see these? I know you got to come up with what's going to be on them, but
Yeah, I will have to verify for each of those different contractors. I would guess they'd probably be in the 60 range, depending on how quickly we get shop drawings and stuff.
okay.
But I will verify the tech.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. And now back to the table here. We'll take a motion for action item number 1.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the award of the Anderson Bid Package 1, directional signage to Volk Corporation in the amount of $8,510 from the 2020 bond fund.
Thank you. Do we have a second to that? Mr. Sage? All right, motion by Dr. Pomponio, supported by Mr. Sage. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Rob. All right, we'll move next to action item number 2, which is the approval Anderson Bid Package 2, the athletic entrance signs.
Yep. I will go ahead and transfer this also to Mr. Kukowski.
Okay.
So bid package 2 here today is for the athletic entrance signage that we reviewed. So again, we reached out on July 14th to formalize request for quote for pricing. We reached out to 4 firms. We received pricing from 3 firms back. Interview and discuss with those firms, and based on that review, we are recommending Levanway signs for approval for the athletic entrance signage. Total award recommendation we're asking for is $12,300. Contract award to Levanway sign would be $3,790. We are looking to carry allowance for painting. The difference that Levanway sign is not included from the others. We saw a red stripe behind the athletic signage. And based on when we talked with the contractors about the cost of painting that, we carried an allowance to see if we're going to consider with that. To save $15. So we can paint that, get a painter with the allowance that we're asking for to paint that just behind there, the red stripe. And then we have that way to the installation of the signage there. So that was the main reason the cost difference between them and the next company was $6,000, $7,000. So Included also is the same general information that the bid tab showing the bid for the 3 contractors that we received. We also included a drawing which goes in our site plan where each of these signs would go, and then the drawing showing athletic entrance pin-mounted aluminum signs or acrylic letters that would be installed above there, and then also Titans, the gymnasium wall there up high on the so gives you a copy of the renderings for each of those, and the specifications are included, and then the proposal from the Bank
Mr. Steve. Sorry.
And I'm just
Next.
out in left field with this, but wouldn't it make sense to use the same contractor for both signage? It's like, we're going with both this one because they got the lowest price, and we're going with Levan, and you'd think that somebody would come with a package price for you that would the be all end all.
You would think, but the way I think signage companies, depending on how their fabrication works, whether they have the ability to in-house fabricate some of these or if they have to outsource some of it, some of the companies can vary on kind of what their specialty is and if they can use quick enough or easy enough. So I was kind of shocked to get 3 different.
Right.
All 3 awards are from each of the 3. I would have thought 2, maybe 1, you know, 3.
Right.
Look at the pricing and really
way
spread
out.
apart.
Right.
Close enough to be able to
Okay.
try to package it.
All right.
And there are different types of signs, so we didn't think, I mean, typically you want to kind of try to package them up as well for warranties and phone calls.
Right.
They're sort of different. Children's mounted signs are, you wouldn't necessarily think the same guys different types of signs, banners, like that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
There really is a difference between wall signs and banners and directional signs. I mean, even though they're all called signs, it's a different world for the companies.
And it was, we tried to find people that would bid all of it too, so we didn't have to necessarily get 4 different guys. to
Right.
do directional, and so tried to give them that option, to find companies that could do all different types of signage, but it just didn't work out. Cost-wise, something we offered.
Right. Dr. Pomponio.
Are you familiar with all the company's work?
Not as much. Both corporations I'm familiar with. I haven't worked with them in the past. I'm actually getting ready to do signage project with them this fall. So they're bidding on some other projects. I know some of the CMs that I'm working with on some other projects have used them in the past. Both working with them, so I haven't worked with them. The Vanway sign I'm very familiar with from years past working with them. Actually a pretty big sign company that was on the work for the Tigers and the Red Wings, all signers down at the stadium and the arena and stuff. They do a lot down there, so they're a pretty big company that I've worked with for 20+ years. And then the third company, I am not familiar with the third company.
And the other thing was for Levanway, is there a set range price for the paint, or is it just open-ended for them to determine?
We'll actually reach out to a painter that we're working with now with the projects we have going on. Probably reach out to 2 painters that we have for renovation projects and pool projects that we have going on. Probably that's where it's supposed to get a price direct from the painter versus
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Mr. Green has a good point.
So with 3, thanks, I was going to wait to the third one, but that's okay. So Rob, with 3 different companies doing this, you know, like, I go buy a shirt from one company and they say this is maroon, and then the second company, it's a little off. The third company, it's a little off, but they're all maroon. We have 3 different companies. We're not going to get like a hodgepodge of 3 different color schemes, are we? That's going to look crappy, to put it bluntly.
I think so, because the type of signage, the athletic entrance signage, you know, it's not a maroon color or anything, so we just gotta make sure we get the right paint color that we have the color for that, your shirt color. The biggest thing will probably be between the banners and the directional signage, and those be different types of materials. I don't know if it would necessarily matter if it's the same company or not. I think we provide that SKU number tool, they should be able to match those, whether it's the same company doing it or different companies, hopefully they can print that, it doesn't look differently in a banner versus a sign in the road. You might get a little bit of different shading, but that's what we're working to make sure, hopefully be able to review those middles simultaneously and make sure we're.
Thank you.
So is it possible to have swatches before? I mean, that might be too much, but I know Mr. Dobek in one of the meetings said the same thing, because they've gotten shirts and other sports things that for Anderson, for maroon or burgundy, came off different colors looking more like red.
Yeah, we typically get asked for dot drawing and color samples. So we should either get a physical sample or a sample of what it would look like plus some color charts. So we will ask for color samples that will be part of the similarity process. Through also the lettering and stuff like that. We're going to get the sample that you guys see before anything is.
Sounds good, thank you.
I just want to point out too, like different materials, different areas, you're going to see different colors. It's not going to look identical. It's not like we're ordering shirts. We're ordering,
I
you're
get
getting
that.
signs, and those
I get
signs are going to
that.
be different materials, different locations. So I'm not concerned about the companies being different, because again, even with the same company, you're going to get a different shade or material. Yeah, yeah, that color looks different on, right.
Looks like it could be the same color, two different surfaces.
Right.
Right, that's understandable.
But we will definitely go through the full top drawing and approval process and look at the drawings, the samples, things like that, make sure everybody reviewed it and signed up.
All right. All right, thank you. So let's go ahead and I'll take a motion to approve this action item number 2, the approval of the Anderson bid package athletic entrance signage award recommendation.
Mr. President, I move to approve the recommendation of the award of the Anderson Bid Package 2 athletic entrance signage to Levanway Signs in the amount of $8,798 from the 2020 bond fund.
Support. Supported, all right. Motion by Mr. Grant, supported by Mr. Craig. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll take a motion to approve that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, moves us to action item number 3, the approval of the Anderson bid package, this bid package number 3, the light pole, fencing, and softball banners award recommendation.
Yeah, so third and final package we have is bid package 3, again, for the light pole banners, the fencing banners, and the back of the softball press box banner. Same general information here, again, we put the RFP package out for this on July 28th to the 4th firm. We received pricing from, actually in this one, from all four firms. We did receive pricing for this package. Based on review of that and talking with contractors, go through the scope of work, we are recommending Image 360 for removal of the bid package 3 banners for this package. The total award for this package is $13,112. 14 cents. There's no award. Again, based on that, mentioned we received 4 bids. Maybe not the initial vote that we did receive, the lowest bidder at bid time. Scoped out that contractor, just did not feel comfortable that their product was meeting the spec. We got a lot of questions, answers from them, and we're asking our needs back now, yes but no, or when we need this product, we couldn't get direct answers from them, we couldn't, had a hard time getting from the full from them, first the emails, over. We just did not feel comfortable with their pricing, and when we saw the spread on it, how close we were, especially half that number, didn't feel that it was the same quality for the banners, and as we talked about presentation banners, one thing that are not as durable, or going to be, so you want something that's going to hopefully last you for 5 years, possibly, so just didn't feel like getting that, so I recommend them today, so Image 360 will confirm that specifications, the products that were designed for this project here today. The package shows where all the banners are going to go. As mentioned, there are 3 foot, as you mount each set of poles, through, what would be on them, whether it's food pictures, sports pictures, lines, things like that. So, we will work together with the of those poles included in there, and then with the banners, we have a total of 1,200 feet estimated right now around the complex there. So kind of hard to see on the overall site plan. If you do an electronic copy of it, I'll send it to you, and you can see where some of the fences are highlighted. Again, we review that to make sure that's exactly where we want to put it, or if there's anything we want to change. Because we do want to change the total of 1,200 feet in that bid for those banners that we put on there, and then softball, backstop, and then those are the 3 packages that are included with that. Again, the proposal from Mitch 360 is included there for use and complete what they have included.
Thank you. Any questions for Rob?
Actually, I do, just on the banners with the athletes. Obviously, we'll want to be timely with those, right? So the kids that are in the pictures are featured on the field. Is that something that we initiate? How do we get those? I mean, at some point, they're going to wear out. It'll be that the kid's going to graduate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of what we need to sit down and talk with the vendor and see, is it, existing photos you have that they incorporate, if we can get photos. I don't know how that process will actually work.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in there and say that we need to be a lot more organized in how we do that, because we want to make sure we're intentional about how we're choosing students. This is just one step in the larger process. So 18 students, we have a lot more we want to showcase in 18. So we would like to see, as far as everyone who has ever talked about this, a presence on Trenton Road, on Eureka Road, on Pennsylvania. We'd like to see something much larger. But what's going to have to go with those is actually the poles themselves, not just the banners. So this is just the beginning of a much larger discussion about how we display our students and how we make that selection. But we are hoping to pull together a committee going into the new school year that is focused exclusively on the branding and marketing plan for our school district and how that fits into supporting our students.
Great. Yes, Mr. Griffin.
These are all installed, right? I noticed the installation line's missing on the bid tab, but this is an installed price
Correct.
that we're getting.
We just rolled it all into the lump sum.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And then, do we have the means to change those banners out on our own if we wanted to?
Yes.
We do? Okay. Whether it's a lift or whatever, we can do that. Okay. Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Seeing none, I'll take the action item number 3, approval of the Anderson bid package, like I said, number 3, the light pole fencing and softball banner award recommendation. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the award of Anderson Bid Package 3, light pole fencing and softball banners to Image 360 in the amount of $13,112.14 from the 2020 bond fund.
Thank you. Dr. Paponi, is there a second?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Green. All right, any further discussion? All right, Mr.
Just for the future, because my fear is that after a year and a half, these things are going to look terrible. So we've got to have it somewhere in the budget that we're ready for this one, so it don't look like we're just
You got that, Barb?
trashed out.
I'm making a note.
All right, anybody else? Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, team.
Thank you.
All right, moving to action item number 4. This is approval of the purchase of 2 food vending machines for the food service department. Sir Irvine?
Yes, Mr. Rodriguez was unable to join us this evening, so I am going to introduce the concept, or at least the reason why this is here before you, and then transfer it to Barb if there are any other additional questions. So we did have several vending machines in our district. We had some here at the high school, and I believe also at Davidson. The individual who was supplying our food was not compliant with the requirements for food purchasing in schools, and unfortunately, we were not able to be successful in getting that to happen. So we do have to change those out. We had to remove those vending machines, and we have a new vendor. So this is an updated machine that will also serve for the needs of our students in a compliant way. And this will come from food service funds.
Any questions, staff?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
With COVID, was there something that we stopped stocking them because of, handling? Wasn't sure if they were just not being stocked anymore. I don't know what happened to them.
I wish Mark was here to be able to talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that they weren't being supplied as well as non-compliant. So
Okay.
they weren't attended to the way they needed to be attended to.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sage?
Just, so we're internally going to be filling the machines ourselves, fixing the machines ourselves, collecting all the revenue that comes in. Do we have somebody that knows these machines, how to fix them? The only reason I ask is at our facility at the club, we lease it out and we get revenue from it, but it's a smaller percentage, but we're not responsible for filling. If the machine breaks down, we don't have to worry about it. It's all covered from the vendor.
So I believe this is a Pepsi contract that is giving us compliant foods, not Pepsi. But, so we are working with a company that's going to be supplying it. It won't be us directly supplying it.
And they'll be maintaining the machine?
Boy, I wish Mr. Rodriguez
I'm
was here.
sorry.
I don't even have him on speed dial.
We're in the middle of camp, and our machines break down on a daily basis. And I'd hate to see that happen.
No, I know that his confidence is high that this will fix that problem.
Anybody else? All right. Well, then let's take accepted motion on that. Anybody want to make that motion?
Sure. I move to approve the purchase of 2 food vending machines for the food service department from Ventec Wholesale Equipment in the amount of $26,709.
Thanks, Mr. Lamas. And do we have a second? Support? Anybody support? Supported by Mr. Craig. All right. And any discussion? See no further discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. All right, motion carries. Takes us to action item number 5. This is final action item of the evening. This is approval of the purchase of 2 zero-turn mowers. And who will be presenting that tonight?
Yes, I will start, but I will have Jacob will come on up and also add more information to this. We have had 5 mowers over the last probably decade or more. 2 of them were replaced a couple of years ago. There were 3 that had not yet been replaced, and the cost of repairing has become so astronomical, and they're just really quite unusable. So we are recommending the purchase of 2 new ones to replace the others.
All right, do we have any questions for staff? Yeah, Mr. Craig.
Oh, go ahead.
Dr. Papone.
More of a statement, really. This follows in line with what we asked you to do before when you replaced the other mowers. What was that, 2 years ago or something like that? So, because we didn't want to do them all at once, it doesn't make sense to replace 5 mowers at once.
And I was trying to pull out as much of the cost we can with this more, and the Hustler is a 2006, and the
Right.
stopped working at 48 hours.
Yeah.
And we've done that one, and help people for that. It's just too much.
Yeah, this is right in line with what we talked about last time, is kind of staggering these replacements so we weren't getting hit with 5 at one time.
Yeah, when you guys
So-
added to the inventory, that
Right.
was part of that, basically we're adding to that.
Right. Okay, thank you.
And we did receive a discount through Hustler for being a municipality, which I didn't know. So it's actually getting cheaper than Hustler and X-Mark registration. About $3,049.
Nice.
Dr. Pomponio.
So I see that on the invoice, it says $6249.14, and then the cost on the motion is $69.99.
$99.24.
Is that an error, or what's the,
The price for $62.49.
Yeah, that's on the estimate.
Yeah.
So the appropriate number would be $6,249.14.
Okay, thank you.
Neil, did you have something, or were you?
No, that was
That was it.
Mr. Lamas?
Yes, through the chair to Dr. Irvine, can we make sure that we look at both the kitchen equipment and this equipment from an operational cost and maintenance cost, so we, in 2 years, whenever we have to spend X dollars to fix it, we've at least budgeted for that?
So a more typically will last 20 years, 30 years, 8 hours before you have to change them. We provide food, especially.
Sure, thank you.
All right. All right, seeing no further comments, I will accept a motion for action item number 5.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of 2 Hustler Fast Track SDX 60 mowers from Kerr's Equipment at a cost of $6,249.14.
Thanks, Dr. Paponio. Do we have a second for that motion? Mr. Who supported it? Sage. All right, supported by Mr. Sage. Any further discussion? All right, I'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thanks, motion carries. All right, do we have any employee representatives scheduled to speak tonight? No? All right, and then we'll bring it right back here to the board for any information and announcements. Mr. Green.
First of all, I know by the next time we meet, we'll be back in school, so I welcome all the students back, and I will leave it at that at this point. All my hopes for a great season for our fall sports teams that some have already begun, not just football, but all the fall sports teams, other activities and clubs that are going to be reestablished. Although I didn't go to the band camp, I did drive by it a couple times and stop and listen, and it sounded like they did a great job and it was successful. And finally, anybody who would like to support our autistic students, our Southgate union, the local firefighter, the union, the Southgate firefighters, is going to be selling T-shirts, and you can get to see T-shirts on their website, and what they're trying to do is raise money to help train first responders, to help young people with autism in our school district. So I think it's a pretty worthy cause. So just go to the Southgate Firefighters Facebook page if you would like to purchase a T-shirt to help out with that worthy cause. And other than that, have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
I'm very proud of our band program. It's always phenomenal to watch them practice and perform. They're hard workers and dedicated. I've seen them practice long hours and hot weather, and they continue to keep going. They were asked to perform at the ribbon cutting ceremony recently at the Downriver Community Federal Credit Union, and they were given a check for $1,000. That was a nice introduction to the community, to our band. I've noticed the senior football and cheer banners that are coming out, and the work started that's on the senior floats with Class Congress and Class of 2022. I have to say that we're ready to start the new school year. I wish great luck to all the students and staff, with the seniors getting ready for the final countdown. I'm especially particular for the senior year. I'm starting to catch my eyes leaking and my heart breaking a little bit because my daughter is a senior, and as many of you know, I started here before she was a kindergartner, and long story short, we've come through a lot. She doesn't have her father with her. She was born 2 weeks after her father passed away, so it's kind of a touching moment for me, but I'd just like to say good luck, Alexis, Narween, Brett, Luke, Kelly, Maggie, and Sandy, just to name a few, because there's a lot of seniors that I know that are coming up in this senior year. Good luck to everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to make a statement? All right, I just want to mention something also coming up as far as supporting our Southgate Education Foundation. Councilman Phil Roush, who's also a liaison to the school board, he has an event coming up on Sunday, September 26th from 3 to 6. It's at Market Center Park, Family Fun Day. And all the benefits and proceeds to that are going to benefit the Southgate Education Foundation. So just wanted to mention that. And with that, I will accept the motion for adjournment.
So moved?
All right, who was that? Mr. Lamas?
Yes.
And second? Support?
Oh, I had a question, sorry.
We already had our citizens' comment, so we're now the adjournment part of the meeting.
We have to go into the closed session first.
All right.
So I'll make a motion to go into closed.
Oh, thank you. So we have a motion to go into closed session by Mr. Craig. This is the item M, and then Mr. Lama supports that. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll convene into closed session. Are we staying here?
No, we'll go to, well, we can stay here. It is cooler here. We also have a classroom that we were
Okay,
just.
wherever you.
We have the classroom.
Thank you, everybody, and sorry about the last-minute comment.
In the defense, we've opened the address that's posted on the website at 14400 Dick, so that's why we're breaking this out when we open the session.
If you guys, we're closed right now, but just so this is just me coming from me, not the board, but if you would want to type up something and get it for us, we'll definitely acknowledge that. Otherwise, the next time, and I apologize for the misunderstanding where the meeting was, but that would be a good way to get us the information. You can either email it to superintendent, she can forward us, or copy us. And so sorry for that misunderstanding.